Okay, welcome to the penultimate episode of my Mass Effect 2 Let's Play. Hope you enjoy this. This is the commentary, as you can clearly hear. Yeah, this is the last piece of DLC, and I know a lot of people play this game and play this after the game finishes, but fact is, there's no way to get the end credits to sort of play after this. So I always do it before last part. And to me, it's like part of what gives Shepard the shove to finally go through the Omega 4 relay and everything. I've done all the loyalty missions for the crew, I think, at this point, and yeah, just a this is just another piece. This is the Arrival DLC, and you'll see why it's called that if you haven't already watched my Let's Play or played the game, and I'll give you my thoughts on it, as I always do. So, got nothing better to do right now, so I'm just doing these commentaries right now because everything else would take up too much processing power. I'm converting video files, creating them, for the commentaries and for the first 5 parts of Mass Effect 3, which again, I'm not going to really talk about here, but let's just say, for certain game design reasons, it's actually a much more boring Let's Play, I feel. But that's another time. But that's another talk for another time. Mass Effect 2. And, yeah. Next to last time, you'll have to sit through this. Well, of course, I know I'm not forcing anyone to sit through it, and I know nobody's sitting through it by choice either, so, yeah, to anyone non-existent who's watching, yep, next to last time, don't worry. Again, this is another short one simply because it didn't fit thematically into anything. It didn't fit thematically with anything else. It was either do this short or tack it on to the next episode and have that episode go on for well over 2 hours with the credits, which I always put the credits on these things at the end. I give you all the voice actor credits right up front at the beginning, and then I give all the programmer credits at the end. Yeah. So, yeah. But, yeah, so, but this works fine on its own as a little, like, TV episode, and, next episode will be around an hour and a half long. Sorry about that, I know that's a bit long for a Let's Play, but, again, I guess there were kind of parts where I could break, but it always felt disjointed, and plus the old serials were always like, I don't know, there just seemed to be something about doing it the same way as an old serial that pleased me. They were always either 12 or 15 episodes long, and since I had gotten it to a perfect 12. So, yeah, here's a briefing. You get this briefing a while ago, but because there isn't a timer on any of the missions, no matter what they say about it being urgent, you don't have to do it except for those 2 missions early that the Elusive Man sends you on. But that's all. You don't lose this mission by waiting until the end of the game or anything like that. So, yeah, that gives you... There's the loading screen. A big improvement all over sitting in an elevator, if you ask me.
Commander, thank you for your time. I'll keep this brief. We have a deep cover operative out in Batarian space. Abe's doctor
Well, then why aren't you getting ready?
Just this morning I received
Yeah, good point. You're an admiral of a whole flippin' fleet. Get the fleet ready, then.
I need you to infiltrate the prison and get her out of there. As a favor to me, I'm asking you to go in alone.
Why? This makes no sense other than they didn't want to pay the other actors to voice this DLC. No, literally, that's the only thing. That's the only reason. I mean, later on, you'll send in a message to Joker, and I guess some random guy answered Joker's messages on the ship because there's just this random voice talking to you, and it's obviously one of the programmers who isn't part of the voice actors union or whatever. I don't know. Do voice actors have a union? All I know is that
Deep cover operative, Shepard.
they couldn't even get Joker for this thing. So
Was investigating a rumor of a Reaper.
I think that's my biggest problem with DLC is that they charge premium prices for it, but then they use the excuse of, oh, it's just downloadable. It's not like it's an expansion pack, so they use that to cut corners. And I'm like, we wouldn't stand for this back in the day with an expansion pack if they charged full price for an expansion pack and then got us and then didn't have half the characters in it.
Tarians won't take kindly to the Alliance breaking into a secret prison.
And you can't even go Solid Snake, not really. I mean, the game engine doesn't support that kind of gameplay, so it's not. So there's the beginning of this mission you sneak around, but then halfway through you just have to shoot everybody.
I'm sure they'd help out.
Jensen is my friend. If the Batarians see a squad of armed soldiers, they'll kill her. This is serious, Commander.
I have to arrive in the same shuttle regardless of if I have a squad or not, so they'll see me no matter what.
The prison is hidden underground at a Batarian outpost in Aratai.
So yeah, I don't get that at all. In universe, it doesn't make any sense.
Discovery. We'll debrief you when you're back.
Outside of it, yeah, I understand. They want this to be a solo mission. They wanted this to be and later on there is something that you do that I get it. They wanted it to be Shepard alone. They didn't want any of his crew implicated in this, but he couldn't have known that he was going to be faced with this. Just watching, he couldn't be known he would be faced with this choice, which isn't really a choice because they don't give you a choice about it. This was the first time I got some bad feelings about what might happen with Mass Effect 3. I thought Mass Effect 3 might get rushed because there are a couple instances in this DLC where they seem to be getting you used to the idea that they take you to places where you would normally have a choice or of either dialogue or what to do, and you don't. The camera pulls back as though you're about to interact.
I have to find Dr.
Either that or it's not used anymore. Can you imagine that if every abandoned prison we ever had, every time we abandoned a prison, somebody came in there and said, the Americans must send their prisoners here to die. No, we just don't use that hole in the ground anymore. I mean, this place has obviously been bombed, for crying out loud. You're supposed to sneak around and not get spotted, but I've never gotten spotted.
for a prison.
Just by wandering around, and I'm no good at Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cell type games. So you would think if anybody was going to get spotted, it would be me. But I've never actually gone out of my way to not get spotted. But also, the map is a little confusing, and that would indicate that she's right there. But no, she's not. She's not. You go around this, and she's not there. Where she is nowhere around here. So, and you would think whoever was talking inside that door would have heard. Well, this is the stealth option apparently. I don't know. I've never actually had it go non-stealth on me. And again, I kind of like the variety and the fact that they trust you to find. And I have known people who've gotten lost with these valves, and I'm sorry, with rerouting these valves and didn't realize it because there isn't anything like it up to this point in the game. But hey, at least it is a new gameplay mechanic, and isn't that what DLC or expansion packs are supposed to give you? If there isn't any new gameplay in it, then it's just more of the same. Then I'm like, and this does add to the story significantly. I don't even know how you would make sense of what's going on in Mass Effect 3. If you played this game, if you played Mass Effect 1 and 2, yeah, and then you just sneak around, get to this shuttle bay, you know, and you're not really sneaking. You just wait for guys to walk away, and that's sneaking. No, you don't have to duck, don't have to do anything. No, nobody ever comes through there, no matter how much noise you make. So it's like, am I really sneaking here? So anyway, yeah, you have this little crane game thing. Why they'd have it on 3 different big buttons to control each function instead of, like, we have nowadays joysticks or something. Can you imagine living in this universe if you had to work with this every day, unloading cargo containers from ships or something, and having to constantly run around, hitting this big button, that big button, that big button, and remembering which way each one of them went? I guess like anything, you get used to it after a while, but it does seem like it would, like I'd feel like I was taking a step down from the way things used to be done. Yep. LHL capacity, and then, yeah, again, this is stealth. You're supposed, yeah, they didn't hear the giant truck, and raise the truck, of course, and of course there's a bonus under it. There's some sort of bonus under it, which I guess I forgot to get. But here's the thing of there should be an example here, yeah, of the context-sensitive controls. Yeah, see, that's the only trouble is that for context-based control schemes is, yeah, you don't have to take up every button on the keyboard, and I'm grateful for that. But it does mean that the computer has to guess what you want to do based on context, and computers will screw that up from time to time, and so, yeah. So all you have to do is walk down a hall past 2 guys. Even though they're looking right outside their room, you can just run right. As long as you run, not walk, you'll get past the room they're in, and you'll be fine. So you just gotta, and you get an achievement for doing this the stealth way, but I've never done it any other way. Once you get here, you have to shoot these guys, and it's kind of like Garrus's recruitment mission. Remember the part I was telling you about that I lost the footage for? So this will all be very hypothetical to you, but remember I told about the part where you have to close the doors. That's what you have to do, only do it once here. You get down to this control room and you have to defend her, and one of the ways is you run up and you close the door before they get near enough to it to activate the safety feature. Which, why these 2 doors are the only ones in the... Yeah, and so she got through security, and then you go up to this shuttle, and I decided to save you when I fighting all of these guys, because it's just the same Batarian guys. There isn't anything special about them. They don't have any Reaper tech or anything like that. And they never really bothered making the Batarians their own special thing. They just put them in human mercenary armor, and that's that, and you never really see their faces, so... Yeah, she just goes to a security console, hacks it, and you get out on the shuttle. I felt that was clear from, there, so I didn't think you needed to see it, but there are about, 3 dozen guys who, I had to kill between...
Charges against you are true.
Well, to be fair, that's about half the story. My people and I were here investigating...
I did pay for the mass relay
out in the
by,
fringes
in an eBay auction.
we found proof that the Reapers will be arriving in the system. When they
But
get
now
here,
they want to
they'll
cancel the
use this mass
transaction,
relay to
so...
travel throughout the galaxy. We call it the Alpha Relay.
Okay, so that will be a big point when I get to Mass Effect 3, but just remember this one point. Reapers can't travel faster than light with their own ships. Our ships can travel for short distances. Even our shuttles can do short Mass Effect, faster than light jumps using their own Mass Effect drives, whereas the Reapers have to use mass relays, or they have to spend years going between them. Their whole plan, both games, their plan has depended on them getting control of and using mass relays and surprising the people on the other side. Okay, so just remember that basic fact that when you boil all this down, what she's saying, and if they don't have to use the mass relays, why would this plan work? And parts of this plan he's describing do work. So why would the Reapers make themselves that vulnerable unless they're completely stupid, or they were trying to herd you into doing exactly what they wanted? But here's the trouble with that thing, is I always hate that plot point, because that justifies all sorts of idiocies, and it never makes any sense, because there was no way they can know that if they do this, then be 100% certain that I'll do that. That not in real life. That's not a plan anybody makes in real life. You take gambles on probabilities, but you never leave yourself vulnerable, assuming that. Oh, yeah. And the Reapers do have a sense of self and self-preservation. We've seen that, so,
Is the project still up?
well, then that sounds like a plan that sucks. Can't we come up with something else? Like, my problem is that the Reapers are so big, only one of them can come through a mass relay at once, and we've shown that we can blast them to pieces with our ships. Yeah, I know Sovereign's shields were down and all that, but yeah, but here's my thing is, well then, focus your research on finding a way to bring down Reaper shields.
What is a Reaper artifact doing on an asteroid?
We don't know, or even what its purpose is. Some things are just too old or large to comprehend.
This is,
Thousands of years dead can take
Shepard, maybe you should be a little careful here, because, the music is suddenly going very, very, Blade Runner. So, you might be walking into a trap.
We're not speaking to a child, Shepard.
No, scratch that. No, you can't be very careful with Reaper indoctrination. We've seen that.
How exactly does a Reaper artifact give you proof of an impending invasion?
It showed me visions of the Reaper's arrival. Much like your Prothean beacon, I imagine. The Reapers are coming, Commander. That much I know for certain.
The stakes are too high. If you were willing to destroy a whole system over this, I want to see your proof.
I guess I can't argue with that. Give me a moment. Kenson to
I was
Project
hoping.
Base.
I don't trust any scientist that has a
And I got Commander Shepard with me.
that has a shirt that's opens in the back like that. What? That looks like it would not only be uncomfortable, but it wouldn't. Yeah, that didn't sound suspicious at all. No, not suspicious at all. Nope. But I reserve the right, because that doesn't even look like it would keep you warm or protected from the elements or anything. And isn't that the purpose of clothing? I'm sorry, I'm not one to start calling women sluts over what they wear or something, but when it seems to mostly cover them, and then there are just pointless spots where it opens up, and you only see this on female characters in like comic books or video games, and I'm just sick of horny animators designing all the female characters, because they'll design something that
Here we are.
technically, for most of it, works as a protective suit
That's our
and looks
countdown
like something
to
you could actually put on. Then they'll add like some straps or something that make it look like, I don't even know how you would begin to put it on and keep it on and be comfortable. And then they'll add like random holes in it.
The artifact has been giving
It
off
is.
pulses
Oh,
for
it is.
decades since we found
That's a good answer to any problem. Thank you. That makes it very clear.
Reaper's proximity. In just over 48 hours, the pulses will become constant. And the
Oh,
Reapers
great.
will be here.
48 hours. Well, I'm not putting up with a CBS News show. No
Let's show you
way.
That proof. That door exits the hangar. The artifact is in our central lab area. Go through the
And, yeah. Let's just keep... You mean the only door that will open? Mysteriously?
So what would it take to get the project back up and running?
Also, if, Batarians knew about this, why were they torturing you instead of, you know,
Should we?
What alternative do we have?
The Reapers will reach the system.
Please tell me there's another alternative.
The Alpha Relay is their shortcut.
Yeah, I can't vision a shepherd with a colonist's background being too happy about this, even if they are Batarians. Which is why I wish they'd kind of given more dimension to the Batarians in the games. Hopefully they'll, well, you'll see. I think they kind of do in Mass Effect 3 at one point, but, yeah, here's where my video editing, my video editing, I sort of made a mistake while video editing and sort of jumped in the middle. There's a jump in the middle of here, and that's my making a mistake in editing and not realizing until after I'd gotten rid of the original raw files that took up. You have to remember that something like this, an expansion pack like this, that ends up taking up like 120 gigabytes on the hard drive in its raw files when you record it from Fraps. So,
This is not good.
Give it a moment.
sometimes I have to delete the files as soon as I created the actual one that you're watching here. That takes up, you know, far less space, you know. Ouch. So anyway, here's a point where you do get an achievement, but I already got this achievement. Yeah, well, don't. They got a Reaper artifact sitting around, and she was acting, because she was acting so unsuspicious. Yeah, Shepard, be shocked. But this part here, gameplay-wise, you go down no matter what. So if you play this for the first time, or if you've seen this, don't worry about it. I got caught off guard. I was trying to get the achievement for the Let's Play, but but at this point, I was getting so near the end of the game when I failed to get it. I couldn't be bothered. But I have gotten the achievement before. That's all you get is an achievement, and that only really matters on Xbox Live. There isn't really a system for keeping track of achievements on the PC, so I'm glad they didn't remove them from the PC port. But at the same time, I'm like, well, what's the point? There isn't any integrated like system or website where I can do it. Where if you survive all 5 waves, but you still get taken down at the end, that's automatic. So so it really doesn't matter what happens to you in this fight. So don't worry about it. Yeah, just shoot. And keep going for the flame guys, because they'll take you out in a second if you are trying to get that achievement, because they'll... And this is sort of like training for the next part of the game. Again, I think this is the beginning of indoctrination theory here, which I've never seen the whole video on that, but some of the theories about the ending of Mass Effect 3, one of them was indoctrination theory, that Shepard was indoctrinated, and yeah, that's I can't think of a reason why that's not a legitimate way to read the fact that the Reapers suddenly want Shepard alive. Why the Collectors were so interested in his corpse? Why? And did they really think everybody would be lining up to just be mashed into a pulp and become Reaper food? Or whatever? Yeah. His waking up could be a glitch.
The sedatives aren't working. Security!
You mean those guys standing right there? Wow. You think that would hurt his knuckles more than it would hurt them, you know, just smashing their helmet, but whatever.
Step away from the terminal. The project is almost complete. I thought I'd feel a sense
Yeah,
of
you can only hear this now. This will explain some of what's going
I
on.
can't help but think we're doing something terrible.
You see the Reapers take and they twist, you know. It's very much like, you know, like working with the shadows in Babylon 5. Or, you know, the people who worship Wraiths in Stargate Atlantis. But yeah, this is pretty cool. You take over one of these robots, which seems to have unlimited health. I've never gotten it killed before, so I'm guessing it has unlimited health. I once stood here and let them fire on me, and it didn't die, so. Which makes this a little less cool. I would have liked it if there was some sort of, lose condition. You only really feel accomplishment if you can lose. That's one of the things that gets me about when games are too easy, is I can only really feel like I've accomplished something if I can lose. So that's why I normally play with the difficulty turned up. Here I wanted to get the episodes out quickly, so I don't have the difficulty tuned. What? Oh, no wonder I'm feeling drowsy. Oh. You really recorded that in your log? I don't remember Joe Friday or Captain Kirk's logs being that sloppy. Yeah. Well, that Shepard is apparently so dumb he has to talk to himself when there isn't anybody else around. Of course, that's too. So you're having to shoot your way through all the scientists again. They're not much of a challenge, so it's just a long thing. And don't get me wrong, there is some fun to be had here, and there are a few puzzles about which way to go and such. But at least there's something. I mean, for somebody who once beat Myst, they're not really puzzles, but you know. But you do get some of these, and yeah, we only ever said they wiped out all advanced life. So here's the first thing. I first got a sinking feeling about Mass Effect 3 when I was playing this, before Mass Effect 3 was released. And this didn't stop me from saving up all the money and buying over $50 worth of BioWare points in a Mass Effect. You see there where he leans back? That's clearly where they were putting something there, where originally there was going to be some sort of like branching storyline. I am 100% sure that there was going to be a branching storyline there, and that he was because the way he leans back, it's the way that you would only do it if you were going to do something. If they were going to give you a choice about whether to destroy this colony or not, and then it would affect Earth, what Earth was like in the next game. But anyway, but the other thing is that the other thing that gave me a sinking feeling was that even if you choose to warn the Batarian colonists, you get no credit for it. I was hoping to Mass Effect 3 that would come into play. At least mitigating you, the fact that you sent out part of a transmission before she cut it off, but nope. So what's the point of making a choice then if nobody acts like you actually did anything? Hackett, later on at the end of this mission, Hackett will know that you sent part of a transmission. So why? Yeah, but yeah. So this comes back to bite you in that some people are very mad at you for destroying an entire star system. And but it's like and they act like you did it without mercy, even though, with the choices I made with Feros and everything else, I've shown that you go to these different things, stabilize it, and but with Shepard's record up to this point, with the choices that I've made, you would think that would come into play in any sort of trial or anything. That oh yeah, he doesn't have a history of annihilating colonies, and Hackett himself believed the evidence of an imminent Reaper invasion, so you think he would be saying something. And Humanity's counselor, he believes you, so you would think that would count for something. I mean, but nope, your history doesn't count for anything. So it's like, again, they're sweeping your. This is the beginning of. This is why I was saying that the big problem with Mass Effect 3's ending, and here's the reason why it isn't just crybabies when people talk about Mass Effect 3's ending. A lot of times they say anybody who doesn't like it, they're just a bunch of crybabies who were letting, you know, one part of a game that was 99.9999% perfect. Oh, darn it, it had a dead man switch. But anyway, that was perfect, getting away. No, it was because up until that point, all our choices played out and mattered. Even the little ones, like, you know, how many people we saved on Theros at least get mentioned, or letting that woman live who was, or, you know, how we treated reporters, or letting that woman who was, you know, that Asari live, who was helping with the Krogan breeding experiment on Vermeer in Mass Effect 1, you know. So it's like they had done such an amazing job. Just wanted to see that continue, and there are parts of Mass Effect 3 where that happened. So again, I think it was rushed. All the other games, I mean, Mass Effect, the original Mass Effect, I don't know how many years it's spent in development, but it came out in 2006, I think, on Xbox 360, 2007 on PC. Here's where you have to, and then you fight your way past a bunch of guys, a couple of robots, yeah. And here's your, yeah. And this is where what I like is that if you play this after the game is over, you're just talking to the main Reaper villain of Mass Effect 3. But I like it better where you're actually talking face to face, because that means that the actual villain in each game, even though it changes the, you know, I mean, the overall threat is the threat of the Reapers, but there is an actual villain front and center. And playing this before you finish the game means that in each game, Shepard does get to have one conversation with each of the antagonists in the game. Whereas this means that he goes through this whole thing and never speaks directly to the real antagonist. So yeah, I prefer doing it this way for story reasons too. But here's what I talk about them cutting corners, even though this was $15 for about an hour and a half of gameplay, you know. And that when I cut out all the mindless shooting, you know. It's just this, which I know shooting makes up the majority of Mass Effect's gameplay. That's why it's a video game. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I don't mind that. No, that wasn't. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, you know. For $15, they look here. Look. Yeah, it's like what? You couldn't even. I mean, what? You couldn't lift the sound clip from elsewhere in the game? Or if you thought that would be too obvious, maybe Mass Effect 1? You know, anything? To make him look a little less like a puppet, but yeah. But yeah, they actually played as well, and good for them that it actually turns up in Mass Effect 3. It doesn't turn up as much as I would hope, but then again, when you see Mass Effect 3, I have to wonder how you would make people care about one-star system after. But that's another conversation for another time. I'm sorry, I know this was mostly me talking about Mass Effect 3, even though I said I wasn't, but this is just well done, and there isn't a whole lot to say that's not on screen or to snark at. So
Looks like you've recovered.
Admiral Hackett.
Sounds like you went through hell down there. How are you feeling?
Fine. No more visions, if that's what you
Yeah.
mean. I wasn't expecting to see you here.
Hey, I just have to ask, can you get me in Holmes' autograph?
I decided to debrief you in person. That was before the mass relay exploded and
I mean, you're
destroyed
both
the entire
androids in
Batarian system.
Alien movies, so I was
What
just
the
asking.
hell happened out there, Commander?
Have you received any intel about what happened?
All I know is I sent you out there to break Amanda Kenson out of prison. And now an entire system is destroyed. I hope you could fill in the
You
lethal
sent me out
logic
there
between
to break someone out of prison who was being charged with terrorism, who said that a race of machines was coming back that was going to wipe out all life in the galaxy.
Destroying that relay
You
was
can't
only-
see how that could have gone wrong somewhere along the line and could have resulted in massive civilian casualties.
I tried to warn the Batarian colony.
At least I was playing as Paragon Shepard, so his surprise can be a little bit excused. I'm not sure I can't really surprise it when I'm playing a Renegade file because I'm like, what are you thinking? I'm playing as a ruthless ex-gang member from Earth. What did you think was going to happen? I sacrificed my own friends. I've wiped out whole species to try and stop this.
And there's just enough evidence for a witch hunt. And we don't want war with the Batarians. Not with the collectors out there taking our colonists.
So the Batarians are blaming it on witches. So I'm in the clear. I'm not a witch.
There were more than 300
I'm a warlock. That's totally different.
all dead.
They died
Or is
to
it?
save trillions of lives. If I could have saved Danny,
Is a warlock just a male witch, or is there some sort of other
You're preaching
designation?
to the choir, Commander.
I have no
If
idea.
it were up to me, I'd give you a damn medal.
I don't
Unfortunately,
care.
not everyone will see it that way.
They're all just goth kids to me.
So what do you suggest?
Evidence against you is shoddy at best. But at some point, you'll have to go to Earth and face the music.
Wait, what about the evidence of me trying to warn them to get the heck out because Reapers were coming and they would kill everybody anyway?
Is the Alliance concerned about the Batarians' response to this incident?
Very.
Yeah, we're afraid that we're afraid that they'll unfriend us on Facebook.
We need the galaxy
You know how many people have unfriended us so far this year? We can't afford that.
to give aid to either side.
Who will be following us? It'll just be you and that one weird Hanar kid who doesn't get along with anybody in his class.
Reported back. We're outmatched. I'm really hoping you and Cerberus have an ace up your sleeve.
I didn't expect to see you aboard.
Well, I don't know about an ace, but I have the Free of Clubs, which I believe was your card.
I'll gladly stand trial once this mission is done.
Glad to see you working with
See,
Cerberus
that's
has
what
inspired your
separates.
sense of honor.
That's why I like old Kirk and don't like new Kirk. People don't get that. From an early age, I realized that one of the things about Captain Kirk on Star Trek is, yes, he breaks the rules when it feels it needs to be done, but at the same time, we're hearing about him breaking the rules in the official ship's log, and he never has any problem with turning himself over to the proper authorities to be for the talking to. Whereas in the new movies, Kirk actually lies in his official ship records. He lies to the face of his mentor, and then he basically kicks anybody off the ship who won't lie for him to help advance his career. So yeah, if somebody asks me why I don't like Into Darkness, but I like other original Star Trek stuff, including Wrath of Khan, that's why it comes down to the character of Kirk. They got Kirk completely wrong. Alright, and on that note, bye.